Hi, and welcome to episode 5 of the Curbside Chat, the video podcast series where we talk about the automotive aftermarket critical topics with the people who make it happen. Today, we're joined by our incoming chairman for the AIA Board of Directors, Bob Jaworski, who will act as our host for today's Curbside Chat. And so, welcome to you, Bob, and thank you very much for joining us today. If this is the first time you're joining us today, well, I'd like to welcome you, and I encourage you to post your questions in the QA tab, and we'll do our best to carry and get to all of those questions during the broadcast. I'd like to take this opportunity also to acknowledge that this conversation would not be possible without our corporate sponsors, so thank you for your support, and let's get started. Now, before we do, I'd like to run a quick poll. So get to your keyboard, and I'd like for you, I guess, to answer with one word. When you think of diversity, what is it the first word that comes to mind? So again, please answer one word. When you think of diversity, what is it the first word that comes to mind? And I guess as you are answering the quick poll, I guess I'll say, well, good afternoon to you, Bob. Welcome to the Curbside Check. And I guess I probably have to say good morning because you are in Regina, Saskatchewan. Let's get right into the podcast today because I know we have a lot to cover with our guest today.
All right. Good afternoon, JF, and hello, everyone. It's an honor to step in today for Susan as we continue to discuss the things that matter in the aftermarket industry for 2021. Samantha began her career in the automotive industry 25 years ago at Lordco Auto Parts. She held various positions, including inside sales, branch manager, and regional manager before becoming vice president of operations. Her previous roles give Samantha a unique perspective, allowing her to understand the challenges of overseeing Lordco's vast operational network. Samantha had the benefit of working closely with her father, Lordco's founder, Ed Coates. This gave her the rare opportunity to learn and train under a man who was a foremost leader in the automotive industry. The topic today is the importance of diversifying and diversity in a changing automotive aftermarket. And without further ado, let's welcome Samantha. Good morning, Samantha, and welcome.
Good morning, Bob. I'm happy to be here.
All righty, let's jump right into it. Samantha, we've known each other for many years, and the past 3 years, we have had the pleasure to serve on the AIA board. And in board discussions, we had conversations about diversity and making efforts to be a more inclusive industry. How well do you think we are doing as an industry?
Good question, Bob. Well, I think it's no secret that our industry has long been male dominated. And I acknowledge that there's certainly been an effort and we've made some positive momentum, but we have a ways to go. And to address the industry so broadly, it's really hard to speak to that. We've moved the needle and we've just got to keep ticking away.
Can you share some of the best practices that Lordco is currently doing regarding diversity internally?
Well, I think it's difficult to identify best practices. I think that we have a very comfortable environment where women are comfortable, they can thrive. It's always been our position that gender or race has never been viewed as a disadvantage. So as long as a person's qualified, they're poised for employment, they're poised for advancement, promotional consideration. At Lordco currently, women make up 40% of our overall employee headcount, which is a statistic that we're extremely proud of and has been consistent for a number of decades. Recently, we've expanded our recruitment efforts using methods such as career website pages, social media, just trying to identify opportunity and really capture that reach.
Samantha, it's JF here. So I guess this is a bit of the secret to attract, retain, advance women, specifically in the aftermarket, and I guess the little special engagement of your organization. But from an AIA perspective, what is it that the role that you think the associations could do to help our members do the same?
Yeah, I mean, it's really nice to see that the association has some diversity on the board. This is something that's, only happened in the last couple of years. Inclusivity, it's been difficult with COVID. We have not been able to get together, but making sure that we don't define women to a box and understanding the importance of a good role model. And in saying a good role model, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's another woman. Quite honestly, men, anybody that can identify somebody's talent and recognize their contribution, I think is important to all, but specifically to increase that comfort level so that women feel supported.
Okay, let's switch gear on another and trending topic in our industry. Many in the aftermarket are diversifying in other segments too. I understand that Lordco has expanded into the RV and camping accessories. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, certainly. We've expanded a little bit more into camping. It's been an evolution of what we've been doing with our RV accessory supply. About 6 years ago, we added truck centers to our stores, and a nice addition to truck center was acknowledging the towing, hauling type product. And there's always been, a real lifestyle movement out here in British Columbia.
You talk about the diversity and diversification of Lordco. You mentioned RVs, which is interesting. And I know you've also been involved in collision repair as well, the PPE segment. How do you see those two segments? Do you think they're different? What do they have in common from your perspective, and how's it playing out at Lordco?
Well, they're different. The reality is that the collision segment is going to see the newer technology before the mechanical segment. We're all adapting to heightened requirements of training and certain. And the body shop segment has a whole other side to manage as far as inventory control, where the mechanical repair is not doing that kind of. They're not managing their inventory that way.
Samantha, what do you enjoy the most about the automotive industry as your career choice? As well, if you could touch on working in a successful family business.
Yeah, I'll tackle the family business part first, Bob. If you don't, that's probably the easiest to speak to, and it talks a lot about. For me, I decided early on in my career that I was going to work in the family business. But growing up in the industry, whether or not it was auto parts or a hardware store, you often find yourself as the children of founders, spending a lot of time in the business, at the business. Cheap childcare. Your parents generally are working a lot. So you spend a lot of time there. And for us, I come from a very close family. Coincidentally, all four, I have two sisters and a brother, and we all work in the business. As far as what I like best about the industry, I think that, the people have always been the biggest attraction, and some of those relationships that have been very important in recognizing the growth, my career growth. They come from outside of people that are at Lordco. So I would have to say the people, whether it be vendors, customers, and colleagues and coworkers.
Great. Before we move on and wrap up, let's check in to see if we have any questions from the audience.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bob. I love the comment, I guess. It's always a double-edged sword to work for your family, isn't it, Samantha?
Yeah, quite often people ask me how I feel about that. And I have to be honest with you, that I'm very comfortable in that space, and everyone gets along. So it's a good thing.
That's great. Yeah. We have a question from the audience here. Tony asked, hi, Samantha, you mentioned you got 40% female headcount in your organization, which is very impressive. So can you describe briefly a bit how you got there?
You know what? That's a good question. And I think that it's always been present at Lordco. We've always had women contributing to the workforce. My mother, who worked in HR for a lot of years, I would like to think somewhat helped that. But as we needed a deeper talent pool, and there was no way that we couldn't acknowledge or be gender specific to certain qualifications. So it's been constant as long as I can remember. There's been a number of women working at Lordco, whether it be on the parts counter. Our regional manager mix is made up by almost 50% males and females. So people look at it as a career and they can work their way up the ladder, and we give them that opportunity.
Yeah. So would you say that it's because there was a greater, I guess, leadership from women within Lordco, including yourself and your mother, that might have helped to lead that choice, the change?
I'm not honestly, Jeff, I'm not too sure. A lot of people ask me if it's because my father had 3 daughters, that there's a lot of women presence in the in our organization, but I really don't think that has anything to do with it. If we, certainly if we wanted to do something else, it was welcomed. It wasn't like a requirement to work in the business, but the reality is that I'm working in a family business that was co-owned by my 2 parents. And, it's kind of the yin and yang. Marlon nurtured our staff and was able to provide them a route to leadership, and the opportunity was there.
Thank you. One more question from Bob. It says, Samantha, what is the biggest obstacle you overcame in your diversifying process? What do you say was the biggest challenge in doing that diversification?
The biggest challenge is always making people feel comfortable, acknowledging people's strengths and putting people into the right role where they can flourish and they can develop skills and then further advance their career. Things were a lot different 20, 30 years ago than they are today. And I think that, as a service provider, we're very customer focused. Women can engage equally as well and do a great job at making those customers feel comfortable and helping them find what they need.
Great. Thank you. A bit of a source of inspiration. So early in the Curbside chat today, we did do the question, the one-word question, and we haven't been able to share all the results, but unique, welcoming, options, workforce, equity, adaptability, inclusiveness. Inclusion, again, comes down a lot. The ability to change, opportunity, were all these one words that people thought about in terms of describing when they thought about diversity. So I guess it relates also to what you were saying, Samantha, for sure. So I think we've covered all the questions. Oh, I have one more. So do you do anything formal in terms of diversity training for your workforce, for your employees, Samantha?
As far as diversity training, formal? No, we don't do anything formal. No, we don't do anything formal.
And so what you say then, if it's not formal, there's something people do, I guess, in their day-to-day business that a way of doing that may lead to some of that inclusiveness, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're lucky to have a really inclusive culture. It's not something we had to work towards. It's kind of foundationally been established.
And I know we're really talking about, the inclusiveness of bringing more women in the workforce, but obviously there's a lot of diversity in the cultures as well make up in British Columbia, I guess. And that's, I guess, another angle that you would consider that you've also had good success in terms of the inclusiveness of other cultures as well in Lordco?
Yeah, 100%. I think, to me, it's no different, whether gender or race, nothing is being dictated by in exclusivity.
Right. Great. Thank you. Well, thank you, Samantha. Please keep your questions coming. We'll get to those questions after the show, making sure Samantha give us some answers. But Bob, I think we still have a few minutes left, so let's jump right into our rapid fire questions, would you?
Okay. So yes, to finish up, we prepared some rapid fire questions for Samantha. We have 5 questions. Tell us the first thing that comes to your mind, and you have 2 minutes to answer all the questions. Make and model of your first car.
1992 Geo Tracker.
A tracker.
I know, embarrassing.
What automotive industry executive worldwide would you like to book a meeting with?
JF.
JF. Okay, good one. Okay. Who would you want to play you in a movie of your life?
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson, very good. Okay, reason for the choice?
No reason.
No reason, just like her?
Yeah.
Okay, a good old hindsight question now. What advice would you tell your 18-year-old self?
Slow down.
Slow down, learn life.
Yeah.
I have to ask, was it behind the wheel or just in life in general?
Both. All of the above.
And another one. What are you terrible at but love to do anyway?
What am I terrible at but love to do anyway?
While Samantha thinks about that, Bob, what would you say?
What's that?
I said, while Samantha is trying to find an answer to that question, would you respond to that question, Bob?
What would I say? Well, I'd love to be a much better golfer than what I am, because I know I get to play with some pretty good guys that are excellent golfers, but you'd actually have to go out and do it more to get better at it. So I give myself an excuse on that one. So.
Touche. That's a good one, Bob. Maybe baking too would be something I'd like to be better at that I try, but I'm not good at.
Okay. And a bonus question here. Final question. Who do you admire the most?
My mother.
Excellent choice. Can't get any safer than that choice, that's for sure. But knowing your mother, I totally understand your choice. All your family are first-class people, so I understand that. So
great choice.
Okay. Yeah, I think in the close side, so I guess we've moved on. So thank you, Samantha, for taking time out of your day to sit in the hot seat. It's been a privilege to serve with you on the board, and congratulations to you and your family and all the success for your Lordco family. Thank you, JF and Susan, for this great opportunity, and we hope to see all of you next time on our Curbside Chat. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.